The only club I want to go to is Milan because of the players that are there now, like Maldini, Nesta was there, Crespo was there, Kaká, Clarence was there, Seedorf, Cafu was there, Shevchenko was there, Inzaghi was there, and because of the Dutch history,
connection with Milan,
a little bit there as well. That's why I wanted to go over there and play.
Wow.
Jaap, just talk to us about Istanbul. Jaap, to be fair, honestly. I mean, you kill yourselves that night. You killed us as well.
I mean, okay, listen. This is.
What's your story?
No, but what I'm saying,
it's better than yours.
But I listen. For us, it was obviously unbelievable. Everywhere we go,
humble with this.
No, but everywhere you go, people talk about you, and you've heard it a million times. Our story, and I'm always fascinated by, the other side of the story, and because you've just named the players then who you were going to play with, and when you actually look at that team, that photo, sort of our team and their team before the final, and you think you're almost looking at their team thinking, that's one of the best teams, not of that era, ever. It's like Cafu's probably one of the best right-backs ever. Maldini, one of the best ever. I mean, the midfield, I think, wins the World Cup the year later, sort of Gattuso, Pirlo. You got Shevchenko, I think, then, was the best player in the world, maybe best striker. Kaká was about to become the best player. So it's unbelievable. And we were a bang average team. We were.
That's his first correct statement on the Oval.
But you only need 6 minutes, don't you?
Yeah, but what was your feeling about actually before the game playing us? Because when you play in the Champions League final, you'd normally expect probably stronger opposition in some ways. We'd only finished 5th in the Premier League. I mean, you must have been supremely confident going into the game.
I think that's a bit how, I don't know, how Liverpool or fans are approaching a little bit the story from your point of view, I think, or not. In terms of that, maybe we think that Liverpool
the underdog
is a weaker side or weaker players. That is not how we approached it. Because we approached that game very professional, as you might think, with all the players in that team, all the ability that we had in that team. All them know exactly what can happen in football. So if you're a young player and you're looking at team sheets, then you can think, okay, we're going to beat them. But an experienced player who've been playing so many years at top level football is not going to think going into a game and underestimate the opposition. So our team, and in our meetings with the manager, with Carlo as well, Ancelotti, we never did that. And even during, because there's been talks as well that I've heard as well, and it really disturbs me as well. In halftime, that people are saying that we were already celebrating and stuff like that.
Well, can
you imagine players of this level, this level? Like going into a dressing room, okay, you're 3-0 up, but thinking, oh, fucking hell, how are we going to celebrate? It's done. But a lot of people outside, they say it. Probably, but we never, because Ancelotti said it as well, and he made this remark as well. He said, if we can score 3 in 45, the opposition can as well. So we need to be careful. We need to keep on going, and be strong so they don't score. Because if they score one, and
that was his team talk, was it?
That was in halftime, his team talk. And because if they get one, the confidence is getting back a bit in that team, and that's what happened. Because when you guys scored the first one, the organisation within our team was gone. Was confusion, whatever, and then you did it well, and then eventually, you scored 3 in 6 minutes.
But what you're talking about there, that story comes out, and I think it was one of our players, in the aftermath of the games, probably all excited, the journalists putting, wow. It's not true, because I don't need to be in your dressing room to know that. Because of what you've just said.
Players.
Maldini's in there, Ancelotti's in there, some of the greatest players of all time. So it was a freak what happened in that game, but it was just a story that I think just got said flippantly after the game, and then it becomes
a big story.
And I thought that was really disrespectful, to use and the professionals and the players that you had in that dressing room.
No, it is, because we knew that. Well, you're talking about yourselves as okay, you're the team that's a bit weaker than us, but in these games as well, and we know that in finals as well. There's in final. It's always difficult to win. And even when you're ahead and there's still 50 minutes to play, anything can happen. You know that as well. And it's been proven in many games. So we were really of course, afterwards we were devastated.
What about slightly more abrasive characters like Roy Keane? I mean, do you find yourself tiptoeing around him?
No. I had a good relationship with Roy. Roy is open. Surely he's open to everybody, you know, in what he thinks he's saying, and I like that in a person as well. Other people, you know, think maybe twice in saying certain things, but he, you know, what he thinks he's saying, he's throwing out there against everybody. It doesn't matter who he's got in front of him, and that's a good quality as well. And then in the dressing room as well, you know, because he's the type of person, and he was our captain, of course, but he was always going for it, and he wanted to keep everybody on their toes as well. And probably he spoke to Sir Alex as well, because that's what we needed. But we always, everybody within the squad wanted to have the same thing, you know, to do well and to win trophies, and that's what we're after. The manager was after that as well. You need to have players who address that or look after that a little bit as well, in terms of looking after by telling people as well what they need to do, and especially if they you know they go down a little bit in terms of sharpness and aggressiveness and what they need to bring to the game, then Roy was there to say it and to address everybody and what they need to do. And then sometimes you know, he can also like stir things up by saying certain things that maybe were not the right things, but he knew that, and then you get a reaction.
Yep.
And he knew that as well. So by giving that reaction, the other player is fired up as well, and thinking, okay, well, he's not going to say that to me again. So everybody is awake at that time. So and that makes us that keeps us on our toes. That makes us go and work very hard. And it's not only him, also the other players did that.
Yeah.
You know, because when Roy was not able to play, a suspension or an injury or whatever, and he played in the most games, but then somebody else was doing it, and sometimes it was myself, sometimes it was Giggsy, it was the Nevilles, Coley, Yorkie. Everybody can do that within the squad. Scalzi, Becks, you name them, and that's how it needs to be, because nowadays players are afraid to talk to each other. Players are afraid to address them, their teammates, in saying things to them in what they need to do, because they're thinking, well, if he's my friend and he knows it. That's what they're saying now. Well, he knows he made a mistake. You know, but that's not the attitude. You need to make him aware in what they need to do. And sometimes, the first time you can say it like nice, and second time you can say it again, but the third time you need to be sharp, because it's not about he knows it. It's not about playing nice and playing a nice game together. It's about winning games. It's about performing. It's about winning trophies, and that's what players need to understand as well.
It's just that his tongue is so sharp. I haven't really seen anybody who can put down someone so fast. Just watching him on TV, like nobody can put a Roy Keane sentence together like Roy Keane can. No. The other day he was talking about Spurs' fullbacks under Mauricio Pochettino, not Mourinho. He says Dumb and Dumber on TV. I mean, that's going to be a blow to the confidence of the players for one, etc. But I just can't imagine being a teammate or being managed by him with a tongue as sharp as his. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean.
No,
right?
I know exactly what you mean. You know, he's ready, but he knows, of course, what the subject is or the person they're going to be talking about. And, and you know, he's already got in his head, of course, a little bit already in what he thinks about certain persons as well. So and he is sharp. He's quick with his words as well. You know, he was as a player in tackling as well, and also on the ball, and very crisp in his passing. But you know, in talking, he's the same.
Are there any that you decided to get rid of or let go that, in retrospect, you wish you'd kept for another couple of years?
Jaap Stams is the one, without question.
Really?
Yeah, I made a mistake there. Jaap had got an Achilles operation, and he'd been out for 6 months. And when we come back, Steve McQuarrie, my assistant at the time, and I thought he'd lost a yard of pace, you know. And we says, well, we'll leave it over the summer. And in the summer, we thought we had a chance of signing a player, and we tried to use Jaap as a part of it, but it didn't work. And I was very presumptuous of that one, right enough. I says, well, let's wait. Start of the season, we had a bad start to the first game of the season. We played Fulham, we didn't have a good game, and I thought, and just at that moment, Lazio came in and offered £16.5 million for him, which was a lot of money. Jaap would be about 30 at that time, maybe 31. I thought, it's bloody good money that for a centre half. And I bought it, you know, I jumped at it. And we got Lauren Blanc in for a couple of years, with fantastic, marvellous man. Great influence with the young players, absolute first class. but was a different type of player from Jaap. And he was older, of course. I think Warren was about 35, 36 at the time. So then Jaap goes to Lazio, and I went to see him play a game. I says, bloody hell, he's playing fantastic, you know. So therefore, it was a bad decision, you know, based on, you know, maybe our sort of a too hurried decision in his form. You know, I should maybe have waited a bit longer. You know.
And it was nothing to do with his autobiography?
No, but I clarified that with him right away. I said, well, how stupid can you be writing, you know, you do a biography, you don't be yourself open to criticism like that.
You don't have to reveal everything.
No, exactly.
No.
Ferguson and United responded in the summer of 2001, spent massive money. Juan Sebastian Veron and Ruud van Nistelrooy both came in. But at the time, it also meant, even for a big club like United, a balancing of the books had to happen as well. Now, you were one of a number of senior players who were called in to a meeting with board members. Can you tell us about that meeting? Which players were with you in that meeting and what was said?
You've got the whole squad, and then there's like 4 or 5 players who are like a small group who are like taking the honours, representative for the squad.
Okay, yeah.
So, and that's what myself, Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, I think those 4 players were it, and we had a meeting with United, with the board as well, and talking about the situation within the club, how everything's going within the squad. About what the club wants to do, what they need to do, and they give you some information. So it was, and they gave us some information as well about, okay, there's like in the budget they need to do something to fill that gap within the budget to, you know, to balance the books. Or I don't know exactly how you call it. And then we made like jokes as well at the end of the meeting, like, okay, well then you just need to sell one of us, then it's fine. So then that's how it happened, and then, you know, everybody laughed, and then we just went out without thinking about you know, about anything. So and then we just kept on, and we kept on going, and we just went into the training sessions again and playing as well, and then eventually, of course, everybody knows what happened.
But just after you say you guys laugh together about it. Yeah, one of us is going to have to get sold, and you joke.
No, it was just like a phrase, you know, because
Sure.
It's the end of the meeting. You know, okay, we had this, and then you know, somebody is throwing in this like line of in a bit of like a joke, you know, and everybody starts laughing about it, and then everybody keeps on and goes his own way.
But you've just signed a 5-year contract at the time at United. So did you have any inkling what was about to happen?
No, you not think about it basically, because it's, you know, because you're doing well, you're playing well, and everybody is doing well for the squad, and then, you know, you just, like you're saying, you just signed a new deal and just thinking, okay, I'm just gonna keep on working and trying to do what I've been doing, and then that's it basically.
Then around that time, your book Head to Head, that comes out.
Yeah.
Did you expect, in your heart of hearts, that it would cause as much controversy as it did?
No, not at all, because we wrote this book with the intention of just giving a bit of like inside information about you know, how we work at United, how the atmosphere within the dressing room, and about certain players, you know, and nothing about being or having criticism towards other people or players or managers or whatever, you know, because people say autobiography, it's not an autobiography, you know, it's just a book about, you know, at United as a player, my time over there, what we do, how we think, you name it basically. So and then of course, like you're saying, you know, there's a lot been written in the papers about it, because you know, was it the Mirror, you know, I think they bought the rights. They bought the rights about, you know, in 4 days to you know, to make some, how do you say it, headlines and get certain pieces of that book within the paper, which is what nobody's reading. They only read like the big headlines, exactly. You know, that was quite frustrating for myself at the time. Yeah.
Oh, I can understand that, but you're on international duty with Holland at the time.
I needed to go on the Monday. I remember very well, because these are things that you never forget basically, because the book came out on the Monday. The papers came out on the Monday morning, and on the Monday afternoon we had to join up with the national team. We played England on the Wednesday, I believe, because we played in the UK as well. I knew it was sold to the Mirror. So my wife said, "Oh, I'm going to go out and get the paper." And then already, like the first day, I read the headlines, what was written in it. So I was like completely shocked in how it was set in or put in the papers, basically, because it was not in how it was in the book.
So at the time, Sir Alex Ferguson is saying, "Look, I understand this has happened with my book as well."
Yeah.
But then after a series of these massive headlines that you've just spoken about, you return to Manchester.
Yeah.
What's Sir Alex Ferguson like then? How does he react? What do you talk about? What's your meeting like?
I went after the game. I went back to Manchester because we played at Spurs at the time, and the next day I told my wife as well, I'm going to go straight away early in the morning because I want to speak to the manager about what happened and everything, because I heard he wasn't too happy with everything. So I spoke to him and we had a brief conversation. Not the best, to be honest. And then I went back into my car and I went home. And then my agent phoned me. I phoned my wife, hang up. My agent phoned me and he told me, Jaap, where are you? I said, well, I'm in my car back home. And I just had a meeting, but I went back home and he said, well, they're going to call you back because they've sold you. And then after that,
Did you think he was joking?
I thought, I thought he was joking. And then after that, I hang up, and then the manager, Sir Alex, phoned me, and he asked me where I was, and I said I was in the car halfway, from Carrington to my house, and then he said, wait for me, I'm going to come over. And then I spoke to him in the car, and they told me that, he told me that he was, they had an offer at Monaco, where all the teams from the Champions League came together. They had an offer, and they agreed it. So, and he was going to be playing other players, and he brought in a different defender as well, who was on a free transfer, Laurent Blanc at the time. So and then I said, okay, but first I want to, and who is it? And then later he said, okay, it was Lazio. And then I said, well, I'm not sure if I want to go. So first I want to see. And I can always say, I could have said, okay, I want to stay at the club. I still have a contract, a long-term contract, and then be on the bench. But of course, everybody at United knew how I was as a person, how I am as a person. That I was never going to be on the bench and say, okay, I'm going to be on the bench for half a season and then waiting for my opportunity again. I would have played eventually, I know that, but at the time, how everything went, the how do you say it, the relationship is not anymore how it was, and then I made my decision to move on.
Just tell us about that. I just want to rewind a little bit. When Sir Alex Ferguson called you and said, where are you, after your agent had called, and you said you're on your way home, he said, wait, I'm going to meet you. Did he come to your house, or did he?
No, he came halfway. I was at the parking. There was like on the right side. There was like a big shopping thing. I was there on the. I went out there and I was waiting there for him.
So, a few years before, you're in awe because Alex Ferguson has come to. You've had a meeting with him in Holland. He wants to come to Man United, and then the way your United careers ended is in a circumstance like that. No, it's strange, but sometimes that happens in football as well. Everybody knows that how it can go from here to here, And, so were you both in the car? He came into.
He came into my car, yeah.
And was he speaking angrily? Was it a very calm conversation?
No, he wasn't angry, because of course he knows how I was and what state I was at the time as well, because we had that meeting before at Carrington at the time, and so he was calm, but he just, of course, he wanted to tell himself in what was the situation. So he came into the car, like I said, and then he told me the situation and what his thoughts at the time were. That they had an offer. He wanted to play with somebody else, and maybe this was after my operation with my Achilles tendon. That maybe they thought, that I wasn't going to go back to that same level that I was. But that they made a different decision, that brought somebody else in from abroad, and that they agreed this deal.